the Confessions podcast.
Dear Simon, Mother Superior, brothers and sisters of the realm, says Tim. I know this is a recent tale, but it's one which I really can't hold on to much longer. I fear I shall burst with guilt unless you can release me, says Tim. See what we can do. It's back on Friday the 23rd of September.
Gosh.
That's how
Ben. Oh, cast your mind.
I quite like these recent ones. It is one of those I haven't confessed until now tales. You may remember from the news that a certain satellite was falling to an unknown location, and excitable scientists were speculating just where it might fall. Well, I was in my garden minding my own business and happened to overhear my neighbour over the fence talking on the phone to her mother. The conversation, or at least the half of it that I could make out, was all about this satellite, and much to my annoyance, lots of laughs and chuckles breaking out everywhere. This went on for 15 minutes. It got increasingly annoying to listen to, as the bad signal on her mobile phone was obviously being attributed to the falling satellite from the skies around South Wales. They clearly found this idea hilarious, and it really irritated me. I could take no more, so I got my children into the car and left earlier than normal for the school run. When I got home, I let my dog out to water the grass, and then I heard the door go on next door's house, and before long a familiar conversation started, this time involving my neighbour and her visiting sister, talking about, you've guessed it, this wretched satellite. I looked into the skies following their shouts of, "Oh look, here it comes," followed by raucous laughter, and again I could take no more. So I retired to my garage. I switched on the light, started to move the summer furniture back inside for the so-called winter. While in the garage, I stumbled across a disused drum from my old washing machine, which I had kept as a spare. But sadly, it was a different size to my new one, and I hadn't got round to fitting it yet. So at this point, I got a sudden urge to play a trick on my neighbour, so off I went in search of a few bits and bobs. I found a can of blue spray paint, some cardboard, and a Stanley knife. I carefully cut out the word NASA on the card, like a stencil. In fact, exactly like a stencil, and placed it on the side of the drum and sprayed it. Well, Simon, the special effects unit on Star Wars would surely have been pleased with my work, and I was so proud of my job that I sprayed the other side of it too, and put it around the side of the house and locked up the garage as it was getting dark. Just before I went to bed, I crept outside and carefully threw this drum over the hedge. It left me at an angle of about 50 degrees. The trajectory was judged just right, and I heard the thud, rustle and ting as it came to rest on next door's patio via the lawn. I call that sound like a reggae outfit, don't they? Thud, rustle and ting. Or some lawyers, maybe. I then legged it back into my house, chuckling to myself, wishing I could see the look on her face next morning, knowing that I would be at work on an early shift by the time she got up. Well, my alarm went off nice and early. I jumped into the shower, went off to work, completely forgot about what I'd done the night before. That was until I was on my way home from West Wales. When I pulled into a petrol station garage to use the bathroom, had a text message from a good friend of mine. The text read, "What's happened in your village? The police have closed it off." At this point, my heart sank as it occurred to me that this might be my fault, and I thought, blimey, what have I done? Followed by a whole load of other text messages and phone calls from everyone wanting to know what had happened. So I now find I have to seek forgiveness from my neighbour, whose garden I thought I had thrown the drum into, and particularly her elderly neighbour the other side, whose garden was next to it, and the drum had actually bounced into that garden. Also from the 3 police cars that turned up and the white vans that accompanied them, and all of my neighbours in villages who were quite taken back by the situation until my fake NASA satellite was produced and the stamp of Zanussi was shown to the neighbours, which you have to say is a bit of a giveaway, really. I have felt such a numpty ever since, says Tim. I didn't have the heart to tell my neighbours that it was me. You would have thought that something from the inside of a washing machine with NASA spray painted but Zanussi clearly in evidence might be the giver, unless Zanussi makes satellites. To be honest,
a possibility.
I hadn't thought of that.
So they actually thought
the
it was
appliance
a
of
satellite.
science, isn't that them?
Yes,
Yeah,
very good.
Maybe they do.
They actually thought it was a satellite, did they?
They
for
thought
a
it was
while.
the satellite.
That seems absurd.
Called
but
the police.
Very funny. I think Tim's got a bit too much time on his hands, don't you? To go to all this trouble to pretend that there's a satellite in his neighbour's garden, and also why was he so irritated by his neighbour's conversations on the phone? I mean, there must be some background there.
I think you're probably right.
I think that it was quite amusing what he did, but I don't want to condone the hooliganish behaviour of throwing a washing machine drum into somebody else's garden. So therefore, Tim, I'm really sorry, but I can't forgive you.
Well, I did. Yeah, okay. I think that's a little harsh, really. All right, so,
Are you allowed to make a judgment like
No,
that?
that's true. Sorry, I forget my place.
Point of information there. Well done.
Back in your box, Mr. Mayo.
Mother Superior.
Yeah, well, I can't really get excited about this story, to be honest with you.
Great. Okay. Thanks a lot.
No, I just think it's a bit daft. Tim, what did he say? He's bursting with guilt. Well, I do think Rebecca's right. You should sort of get out a bit more, really. I mean, I think it was a bit of a daft thing to do, and you have got an awful lot of time in your hands.
Well, I mean, maybe you've just missed it. Maybe you had one of your blank moments.
No.
Clearly, what happens?
I
Next
was
door
listening.
neighbour gets up, thinks that a satellite has landed in his or her
This
garden.
is actually you that did this. This is the only explanation I can think of for you leading the jury in this way.
I am leading the jury. What I'm saying is so clearly Tim wasn't there when the moment happened, but next door neighbour comes out, sees that the thud, rustle and ting has gone
Sees
next
an
door.
old washing machine, thing
But the
in
old
the garden.
the old lady thinks a satellite has descended from space.
No,
into-
you're being patronising just because she's old. She's not stupid, okay? I just think it was a bit of a daft thing to do. And what a waste of police time. So,
Well, there you go. So it's a serious thing.
no, it was. I mean, I wonder how they felt. Anyway, do I forgive him? Yeah, I don't really. I don't know. Yes, all right.
Why don't you take a break? We'll have Bobby Pride tomorrow, and then it'll all make sense.
I'm off.
again.
Yes.
Brother Matthew.
I think this is superb. And anyone who calls out the police and who knows who else just because they get a washing machine part with NASA sprayed on it, thinking, oh, that's definitely a satellite. Looks a bit like a washing machine drum. Has Zanussi written on it, but no, it's got NASA sprayed on it, so it's definitely a satellite. Deserves everything they get, even if they are little old lady living 2 doors down. Tough! You shouldn't be calling out the police just because you got washing machine drums sitting in your leaks. Tough.
There must be a job for Matt somewhere in the universe where he just has to shout at people all the time.
think
I
I've got
can't
it,
think what
haven't
it
I?
could